He hunts the biggest of all game, public enemies who try to destroy our America.
Welcome to the first broadcast on the internet of the Michael Savage Show. It's kind of been a big day for me here. Thank you for listening. Thanks for taking time out from your whatever you're doing this Sunday. This is a test not so much for audience as it is of new technology. I grew up on a Royal Portable, and here I am broadcasting to my loyal following on the internet, which is amazing to me. I'm learning how to do it on an iPhone, which will be tomorrow, I guess. We're living in a very dangerous time, a very sad time. And although I won a 2-year legal battle, which was very costly to me emotionally, physically, mentally, and other ways, I won. The important thing to know is that I won. I won everything, and I am a free man. Freedom is everything. And the fact of the matter is that I will be announcing to you on this channel updates about where I'm going to wind up. I have many opportunities, and I'm going to pick my best one. But let's focus on the State of the Union. The State of the Union is a wreck. We have the most divisive, hateful president in American history sitting in the White House. He has started, in essence, a psychological race war in this country. He has pitted black against white, brown against white. He has isolated and marginalized the white male like never before in American history. There's a hate going on in the country that I've never seen in my lifetime. Now, I'm not going to start with mea culpas, and it's not because he's black. You know, think what you want to think. Do what you want to do. Say what you want to say. You know I'm right, and you know this needs to be said, whether it's to 500 people, 5 million people, 50 million people. The fact of the matter is this man has divided this country like it's never been divided before. Never have I seen anything like this. Knowingly turning man against man, race against race. He wants a new civil war just in time for the election. Don't give him one. Just vote him out of office. Throw him out, and get rid of him. Now, is Romney the answer? Of course not. Romney is the opportunity, not of a lifetime, but the opportunity of this time. And why am I saying it? Because we have no other choice. Forget third party. That's a vote for more of this divisive racism that we're seeing coming out of the Obama machine. Giving away phones, welfare cheats, leeches who are living on food stamps and welfare are getting free phones. You didn't read about that in the newspaper. Go to the Drudge Report. It's linked up there. 1 million phones were given out. Obama plans to give $450 million in cash to the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, and one Jew in America will still vote for Obama? I don't understand the Jewish people. They don't see what he's doing to them? No, they don't see what he's doing to them. Anyone but a goy. Anyone but a goy. I've said this to you on my show. I'll say it to you right here on the internet. I have no advertisers. I have no FCC. No one is listening except I don't know how many. I don't care how many. 450, 1,000, 10,000. What is wrong with this picture? How could any white person vote for Obama, number one, knowing he's targeting them, is the first mystery. How could any Jewish person who supports Israel vote for Obama is the second mystery. It's beyond me to understand this. I have no idea. I have no answers for these groups. The fact of the matter is, I am here with you tonight on the Savage Nation for the first time with no advertisers looking over my shoulder, no syndicator telling me what I can't say or hitting me. Do you know that I've been edited steadily for 10 years? You didn't know that. If you've listened to my show, you probably have never heard one of my shows ever. You never heard a Michael Savage show, ever. What you heard was an edited version, edited by some moron with a junior high school degree from Guadalajara, Mexico, who was sitting in the back room cutting me up and dicing me up without telling me they were doing it. Well, those days are over. Michael Savage Unleashed live on the internet. It just went up on the Drudge Report, and thank you for doing that. The fact of the matter is, why would I choose Sunday night? Why would I record, do a broadcast on a Sunday night? Why? Because it's time to talk to my audience. I'm not doing this for numbers. As you know, it's free. I'm doing it for the freedom. I feel like a runaway slave who broke his chains and ran off the plantation. I feel like I broke the chains. And let me tell you something. Tonight is only the beginning of my first speech. Nothing is in front of me. Everything is behind me. I'm sitting here with you face to face for the first time in my radio career because it's not the radio career. Do you understand this? Do you understand that if you're listening to this show somewhere in the world, this is the first show on the internet? I'm not going to do things for effect. You know, I heard that Charlie Sheen had 1 million viewers on Ustream the first time because they thought he'd go in his bed and, you know, do dirty things or say dirty things. I don't need to say or do dirty things to get you to listen, do I? I need to tell you the truth. Today, the truth has been so suppressed in America that it's more pornographic than the most XXX rated pornography. XXX rated pornography is boring compared to the truth. The truth is so dangerous to the government officials that they'd rather you watch pornography and dope yourself up and live on drugs. Well, let me tell you something. I don't need to revert to that level. All I need to do is tell you what I think is going on and see what happens. 43% of voters certain they'll vote for Romney, 42% certain they will vote for Obama, remaining 15% either uncommitted or open to changing mind. It's on the Drudge Report. I'm not speaking to the 43 who are going to vote for Obama. In fact, I almost opened this show with an Obama mask on. I thought I would shock you. Instead, I took an earlier picture of me, and my engineer is here in the back room. I have only one live person here, my engineer. I hope it's running. Are you listening to me? Engineer, are we broadcasting live or not?
Yes, we are.
We are. Okay, so it's still running. I haven't even gotten started yet because this is new technology. I want to show you my home studio here, a little here and there picture. I don't know if the camera's any good. There it is. This is one of my home studios. Many of you have been curious. Oh, my God, I shouldn't have shown you the dumbbells on the floor. It means I'm working out during the show. Yes, I am. And over here is my computer, which shows dead soldiers. Of course, more American troops are dead. There's a life ring from the HMS Sheffield. There's a whole story to that one, which I'm not going to bore you with right now. That was the British warship sunk during the Falklands War by Argentina. And I bought it in an antique store in Florida. There's just little things here and there all around the house. It's only one of my many studios. You see, I lead a very humble life. See the small dining table? You know how many books I've written on that small dining table? Many. I like to work in small spaces. I'm broadcasting live, by the way. This is the first internet broadcast of the Savage Nation. And I'm not going to talk about my victory. That's already been put out by the Associated Press. Again, I want to talk only about the Savage Nation and what you have to do. I started by telling you Obama is the most divisive, racist president in American history in this man's opinion. Am I alone in that? Anyone with a brain can see what he's been doing. He's using this tactic of pitting brother against brother, family against family, race against race. It's frightening to see him getting away with it. And then we have on the other side Mr. Milquetoast. Mr. Milquetoast, check pants Republican, Mitt Romney. He's a nice man. I've said that before. I have nothing negative to say about him, nor would I. There's no need to. He has no history, truthfully, other than as a middle-of-the-road governor in Massachusetts. Well, he has a family, wonderful family, which is a victory unto itself when you think about it. But the family alone is not enough when you think about that either, as well, because Obama has a wonderful family. So it's not about who's a better family man, is it? Obama's a young man with 2 lovely daughters, and he's married. He doesn't screw around. He's not Bill Clinton. Then you have Romney on the other side. 6 children, numerous grandchildren, beautiful family, but we're not voting for the family. We're not voting for Ann Romney. And I've said this before. She's got to stop running around and taking the center stage. She's got to cut it out. She's probably competing with Michelle. Not good. So Mitt is Mr. Middle of the Road. Do we want middle of the road? Well, compared to the far-left radical communist in the White House, middle of the road is almost right-wing, especially if you consider the news media. Anyone who's not a left-wing fanatic is a conservative right-wing threat to the order out there, the social order. But, you know, we're still living in the greatest country on earth where we're free to say what we want. Engineer, I hit the wrong button and something popped up. I may have turned this off. I want to tell you about a number of things on the Savage Nation today. And one of the things I want to tell you about is what you already know. Some of it you may not know. The only freedom that we have is freedom of speech, which is not free anymore on radio. Radio is not free. Radio is highly controlled, as you well know. Everyone's looking over their shoulder at advertisers, and they have to. It's a business. You see, you have to understand that. I have tread the middle line as best as I possibly can for so many years, and I've done very well with the hard-hitting edge that I have. You have to think about that. That's the New Yorker picture of me right now, the party of one. I love the caricature. It's not that complimentary. Rondi, can you come in here, please? I hit a button, and I think I lost my show. I'm not quite sure. It's hard to tell, but this screen popped up. This is sort of like, it's like early 50s television. My dog has just attacked the engineer, bit his feet. Teddy is so protective. Stop it, Teddy. Cut it out. He won't let anyone near my broadcast desk. See, there he is. He's my attack poodle. He is my, anyone who hates me, beware. We have a 10-pound attack poodle waiting to get you. Yeah, so I feel like this is 1950, 51 television that I'm doing, which I used to love, by the way. You know, I grew up in another age. Do you know that when I first started watching television in the 50s, that props would fall over during a show? I swear to God, I used to watch a show, a Spanish-language television show in New York City in 50-51 that was servicing the large Puerto Rican community, and it was El Perucho show. I'll never forget it. I was a young kid, a really young kid, and we used to watch it, which is El Perucho show, and then we'd wait and see, you know, for dresses would fall off women. Their breasts would pop out. We were waiting for that moment, by the way. You know what you little boys do. And once, I swear to God, a screen fell over. One of the prop screen, you know, like they set up a prop of a cityscape. It fell over right into the camera. I love television when it was like that, right? Well, maybe internet radio is going to be like that. Props falling over, dogs biting engineers, Savage biting his tongue. So this is a new world order for me. It's 15 minutes after the hour. You're listening to the ex-radio host, Michael Savage, who is evaluating many options and will come back either on a syndicated radio program in bigger markets at a better time and or on the internet. If I go back to radio, I'm probably going to change my time, and I'll be the punk rock alternative to the Mantovani on talk radio right now. Oh, did you hear the news that came out today? It just came out today. I'm number one. I beat Rush on the internet. I couldn't believe that came to me about 25 minutes before the show. Third quarter streaming ratings out there, which is that here, you're number one topping Rush. It came to me from my good friend Joe Farah, and thank you for that, Joe. I really don't know who's listening to the show. Probably not a lot of people, but it did come up and it was beautiful. Yeah, let me tell you the news. You got to hear the news. Michael Savage has the top TSL of all 25 streaming talk shows in the third quarter share report coming from the organization that does these tallies. And here's their headline. TalkStream Live, WordPress, blah, 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 Savage, or blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I'm number one. I don't know here it is. The Savage Nation has become the number one talk show on the internet for the third quarter 2012. We have watched Michael consistently grow his audience over the last several quarters. All of his numbers are way up, especially via mobile and social radio, which, by the way, which is why I've gone this route today. It's an experiment for me. I'm an older guy, you know that. I'm 49 years old. Actually, 39. I'm 39 years old, and I didn't grow up on the internet. And the fact of the matter is I need the mobile and social radio outlets because the people are moving there. Radio's not dying, by the way. I'm still very bullish on terrestrial radio. You may say, well, it's the old media. Well, guess what? So is television, and it hasn't disappeared. It's extremely powerful. We know that newspapers have been dying off, but are they influential? You bet. They're still there, and they're very influential, and they will be for a long period of time. So will radio, but the future is no doubt on social media and on mobile phones. And so here I am. Savage Nation has become the number one talk show on the internet for third quarter 2012. Listen to this. Michael Savage share 10.9, Rush Limbaugh 9.6, et cetera, and so forth, and so on, right down the list. Laura Ingraham comes in at number 3. Glenn Beck comes in at number 4. The guy who sounds like Groucho Marx's grandmother getting a hysterectomy in a clinic in Puerto Rico in 1951 without anesthesia. The one who sounds like Groucho Marx, who would be nowhere were it not for the wall banger. And he probably will be nowhere very soon. In fact, there's a good opportunity for me to move my time slot on radio and beat the Wallbanger and drive him away from radio. So if Wallbanger, if you're listening to this show, understand that I'm free now. The chains have been broken. I ran off the plantation. I literally ran off the plantation, and they're going to be left with nothing because I was all they had, so far as I know. You know, years ago, a couple of years now, God, August 3rd, 2009, Party of One, the New Yorker. That's what the light is on right now, a little overlit, with the gnome-like caricature of me. They said Michael Savage is a marvelous storyteller, a quirky thinker, and an incorrigible free associator. He sometimes sounds less like a political commentator, right, than like the star of a riveting and unusually vivid one-man play. He frequently dumps callers, even sympathetic ones, after about a sentence and a half or a fugitive character out of a Philip Roth novel he wrote. Savage seems resigned to the fact that the majority of Americans, including many of his own listeners, just don't get it, just don't get him, and never will. He is a permanent resident of the political wilderness, sending daily dispatches back to the diseased civilization that the rest of us call home. That's exactly right. Kalefa Senna wrote that in the New Yorker back in 2009, Michael Savage, Party of One. And then he goes on to the rest of it. What he gives those listeners is one of the most addictive programs on radio and one of the least predictable. San Francisco is his adopted hometown. He calls it San Fran Psycho. By the way, I saw someone ripped it off and registered the website, the .com. I don't care. A nickname that may or not be affectionate depending on the context and his mood. But he delivers his analysis and his anecdotes in a vinegary New York accent, occasionally seasoned with Yiddish. And his voice alone conveys something of the nostalgia he feels for his boyhood in the Bronx and Queens in the 40s and 50s. He is quick to anger and often provides evidence of his firm belief that political understatement is overrated. As when he mentioned in passing that President Obama was dragging us by the neck into the neo-Marxist nation of the new Venezuela. Hey, that was in 2009. Was I wrong? He yields to no one in his disdain for liberals. He once wrote a book called Liberalism as a Mental Disorder. Not to mention illegal immigrants, fraudulent food stamp recipients. How do you like that? He said Judge Sotomayor is a stone-hearted racist and a narcissist. And he goes on. He said, I still can't believe that in this day and age an adult would go to a baseball game. He says, adding suggestively that baseball is very popular in communist Cuba. That is not bad. Well, this is all from the old New Yorker article, which is very, very good. So there it is. That was then. That was then. And, you know, I also talk about food, things of that nature. Shall I tell you more about my dog? No, I don't think you want to hear about that. I do support animal rights. Oh, what a crime for a conservative. We're not supposed to. We're supposed to believe Wolf Blitzer protects elephants. We're supposed to believe that, who's the guy with the tight dungarees who got excited about the Arab youth and the tight dungarees with blackberries? Oh, Anderson Blooper, the one who brought about the Arab Spring, which I told you first was the Arab nightmare. And now, of course, they're saying they're hedging their bet, right? Oh, yeah, right. Oh, we don't know, but let's send them $1 billion and see if they blow Israel off the map. If they do, we won't give them another $1 billion. We'll cut it back to $900 million because maybe then they'll blow the Bronx off the map. We don't know. Or let's say where conservatives are, wouldn't be the Bronx. It might be Houston, Texas. Savage abhors animal cruelty, wrote the New Yorker. Not as much as he abhors the animal rights movement. And as many listeners know, his interest in the natural world predates his identity as a firebrand. Did you know that I'm a scientist by training? Did you know that before I became a talk show host, I was the author of more than a dozen books on alternative medicine? Did you know that I was not a health nut ever, but I was a melancholy fatalist all along? All too aware that every day brings with it a new dose of poison for my beleaguered mind. Savage said then, theoretically, when I get off the air, I should go run, I should walk, I should bicycle, I should do a treadmill. But the worst thing you could do after radio when your adrenaline is super high is go for a drink and dinner. Well, guess what? I usually go for a drink immediately and then dinner. In fact, the second worst thing you could do, I wrote, is have 2 drinks. I had 2 beers. The third worst thing you could do is come right home and watch television. I came right home and watched television. I didn't sleep a minute last night. One nightmare after another, he sighed. I'll do the same thing again tonight. Which is why I say to you that fear of stress is the most dangerous thing on earth. Did you know that? The government has you so whacked out with fear of stress that you're killing yourself trying to drive stress away. You remember what Mark Twain said when they said to him, Mr. Twain, don't you ever get any exercise? And he said with a smile, I get all of my exercise walking to my more athletic friends' funerals. you gotta hand it to him. Mark Twain did not have a treadmill. He did not have a treadmill. So there is Michael Savage. I liked art in grade school, right? I like hubris in adults, incidentally. I loved art in grade school. And I can tell you more about Teddy, who enjoys the show every day. In fact, he's very protective of it. Here is my plea. I am the smallest minority in America, an individual man who aligns himself with no group, calls himself by no race, but strives always for excellence. That came from a book I wrote in 1977 called The Death of the White Male, which I distributed as a pamphlet 14 years later. Why? Because despite my PhD from the University of California at Berkeley, despite the success of my many books, I was unable to enter the academic world because I was a white male. I committed the ultimate sin. I was a white male, you see. But they did me a favor, just as, let me tell you this. See, I believe in fate, and I believe in God. I have to tell you about that before it's getting late. I didn't mean to keep you. I know there's a much more important event, a football game, I believe, right? Very important. And I know most of you are going to leave me very shortly. But the fact of the matter is, I've forgotten completely what I was talking about before I just said there's a football game. The Death of the White Male, which he distributed 14 years later. Yep, I am the ultimate minority in America. I am the ultimate minority in America. But I'm not going to complain. As I said to you, I believe in God, and I believe in fate to pick up the track. And I remember how I got into radio. It's a long story. In 1994, I sent out 450 tapes, blah, blah, blah. Five stations said, you're great, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I got to show you the glove. You see, this was a prop. All you're going to see of me today is the red glove. See the red glove? And that is a carving from Mesoamerica from another time. He's one of my good luck charms, I hope. So I didn't know where I would be. I mean, I was a consultant that day, and that time I wouldn't be allowed to enter the academic world, even though I had published books and gotten a great PhD because I was a white male. I didn't know that they were doing me a favor. It drove me into radio, right? So then I've had 18 years on the radio, which may or may not continue on the radio, depending about what I want to do. And now I've had to fight for 2 years to be free and break the chains that were put around me by an individual who thought that he had an auto-renewing contract, who likes to own people as though they are slaves on a plantation. Slaves, can you believe in this day and age that I'd have to spend $900,000 to free myself from slavery? So where am I now? Look at this. Oh, well, Michael, you really did yourself a favor. You freed yourself, and now you don't have a radio show. Free at last. Free at last. And I'm not charging you for this show. I may never charge you for the show. I don't know what I'm going to do. I may just do this once a week, once a month, once a day. I may get up in the morning. I may wake up in the middle of the night and tell you a dream at 4 a.m. I don't know. This is a new kick for me. And so, therefore, what I'm saying to you is this. Yeah, I'm out there in the wilderness right now where I want to be. I put myself here. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Because I believe in fate and I believe in God. That's what I was trying to tell you. You hear what I'm saying to you? I didn't know if I'd have a radio career, but once I got the first station, I knew I'd be in the top 3. I told it to everyone who knew me. I said, I'll make it into the top 3. And I've been in the top 3 for a very long time. The only thing that kept me from becoming number 1, which I am now on the internet, was the distribution. I wasn't on big stations and in the right time slot. That could change. Could be changed by Wednesday for the way things are going, okay? I could be number 1 in the radio. I could beat Rush Limbaugh if I wanted. You put me in the same slot in the same stations, I beat him. Nothing wrong with Rush. It's just that Rush Limbaugh is a very good ball player, and I happen to be the Mickey Mantle of talk radio of my time, or whoever, Alex Rodriguez, whoever. I don't watch ball game. I haven't gone to a ball game since 1951. No, I went a few years ago. So here I am. I am the smallest minority in America, an individual man who aligns himself with no group, calls himself by no race, but strives always for excellence. And I believe excellence will eventually prevail. And I believe, personally, that God put me here today on this internet show to talk to my core audience. It could be a few hundred people today. It could be bigger tomorrow if I wanted it on a Monday with big announcements. It could be 500 people. It doesn't matter to me. Do you understand? It's a test. I'm testing out a new medium. That's all I'm doing. And so I'm not going to bid you adieu yet. I'd like to talk for a little bit longer, but I know the football game is starting shortly. Engineer, could you find out if the audience wants me to continue? Because I'm not ready to go to dinner. I'm not going to watch the ball game. We have 2 images up there, and so therefore I don't know if it's even running.
Yes.
It is running? You sure of that?
Yes.
Okay, good. Talk shows, Michael Savage Unleashed, live on Internet Developing. It's on Drudge. That's good. Oh, my God. Okay, so how many people are listening? 300 people?
No, 5,000.
5,000?
5,500.
Only 5,000 people to start with, and only 19,455 views? I feel like Jerry Lewis running a telethon. We have 19,521 views, 534, 546, 566. Are we going to break 20,000 views tonight? I need 20,000 views right now, or I'm not going to continue. I got 19,654. I got 19,684. If I don't have 20,000 in the next 2 minutes, I'm not going to continue. I'm Jerry Lewis, and this is my telethon. Please continue. Yes, keep it up. Les, keep it up. Yes, keep it up. Mike, continue. Thanks, Drudge. Thanks, Dr. Savage. Stay online. Stay online. Stay online. Hope you read these comments. See, I normally don't do a show reading comments. You notice I've gone 30 minutes now without an ad? People said, oh, if you go on the internet, how are you going to do it without music? How are you going to do it without music? How are you going to do it without breaks? How are you going to do it without callers? Well, I guess I've been doing it without anything for a while now, right? No, you changed the tape. I'm going to get Beethoven now. You got to bring it back to the right disc. I think you hit Latin music, which is just as good. We just played with some music sounds today. Savage says over the years his political orientation never really changed, but he hasn't always identified with conservatism. He says that his difficulties in academia left him feeling alienated from society and helped nudge him out of the liberal orbit. Okay? Sather Tower, the main landmark of University of California, Berkeley, is visible from his house, and he's amused by the idea that one lousy tenure-track job might have been enough to prevent him from becoming a media star. Had I been given a teaching position, would I have voted for Obama in the last election? I don't know, he said. That's an interesting question. The answer is no, because I detested doctrinaire liberals even then. Did you hear this? So nothing's really changed. People say, oh, hey, is Savage really like that off the air, or is that an act? Well, you're going to find out over the next few days, weeks, and months that it's not an act. In fact, it's always been me. This is me. This is me, the Savage Nation. What are we at now in numbers? I have to see because did we break 20?
21.
Where? Oh, we did it. Jerry did it. Jerry got 21,103. Teddy, come over here to celebrate. Somebody get Teddy a greenie. You're going to see no, he'll bite your hand if you see the greenie. Do you know how happy I am to be? I feel freer than I've ever felt in my entire life, let alone the last 10 years. I mean, it's unbelievable. Remember, when I went into talk radio, conservative talk radio was in its third, fourth, or fifth generation. And it was only new in the late 80s after the FCC abolished the fairness doctrine, right? So here I am. I'm in the new world order now, which is there's no controlling this. There's no controlling this. And since I beat Rush on the internet, you can see the handwriting on the wall. Hey, I never did this for the money. Do you understand that? Borders, language, culture. I want you to go to Amazon right now, by the way, and do me a favor. And this is important to me, and I'll tell you why. I want you to buy Train Tracks right now if you enjoy the show. Here is the reason. My publisher believes in me, and I don't want to disappoint my publisher, because if I don't wind up back on the radio in a week or a month, and it may take a little longer, and then it takes me a few weeks to get back on the internet, they're going to say, well, come on, you said you're going to be on radio. There's no clause in this contract. But I like to fulfill my obligations to people. I always have. Anyone who's ever worked with Michael has made money. No one's ever lost money. I've always rewarded people who believed in me. And my publishers believe in me. And I'm very proud of Train Tracks. I wish I had a picture or cover. I don't, to show you. That's my book. It's going to come out the week of the election. I'm not going to read from it right now. I had planned on that, but I'll do that another day. Many of you made this a bestseller. Love the book. I understand that it's the most popular book in the war room of the Obama White House. I believe that more Obama operatives have read Trickle-Down Tyranny, Crushing Obama's Dream of the Socialist States of America, than the Romney camp. I think the Romney camp wouldn't even read the book. They'd be afraid to be seen with it. But I think the Obama camp, which seems to be smarter and better organized and meaner, understands that they better understand the other side. You understand that? I'm also proud of my first novel. I have to go into this for a minute. Abuse of Power, which I loved getting into writing novels because I started as a writer. I am so happy with this book, right? But you want to hear a surprise? Here's a book cover that you've not seen yet. Books of the making of many books, there is no end. I got the first galley proofs of my next Jack Hatfield novel, A Time for War. It is so good. I took it to San Francisco last night, to North Beach. I try to read it to a guy who owns an Italian restaurant. I try to tell him I immortalized him. You won't believe this. I read the pages in here, set outside his restaurant. Thank God I fictionalized it and called it Spamanti's Restaurant. I'm so lucky I didn't call it by its right name. The guy wouldn't listen to me. I'm reading it to him. I'm telling him that it's him and it's his restaurant. And I'm reading it outside with the fog blowing and it's ice cold. I named him Bruno. He's not Bruno. I love him anyway. He's like a friend. I argue with him all the time. He's like a relative from the old world. And he says to me, you got to see a paper a woman gave me in the restaurant right now. I said, what's wrong with you? I'm reading my new novel. You've been immortalized. Do you understand that you speak the English, right? You speak of the Italian, but you speak of the English? I said, do you know what mort means? It means dead. Do you know what immortalized means, Bruno? It means you're not dead. You're immortalized. You live forever in my novel. He says, oh, very nice, but look at the note that this woman gave me tonight. I said, why are you insulting me? What is wrong with you? I put down my beer, and I said, good night. I'm going to go across the street. And I didn't eat there. It was jammed. God bless him. I hope he does well. Chances of me ever going in there again is zero. And I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going across the street to the U.S. restaurant, which is basically a hole in the wall owned by a really nice Sicilian guy. The food is incredible. And I said, you know what? I'll immortalize him next time. And I won't call him Bruno. That was last night. Now, here's the funny part. Here's the funny part. Here is the funny part, if that wasn't the funny part. The food was incredible. I had spaghetti and broccoli, no butter. It's fabulous, unbelievable. And then I had to take a limo home. Don't ask the whole story. I left my car at home. I went in one way. I had to go home with another. Now, here was an interesting story going home. Incidentally, since I'm broadcasting live, you want to hear the story, yes or no? Engineer, could you come in and see if they're saying yes to the story? Because I don't really want to do necessarily politics. Savage should do a show drunk, says Hiram Kadmon. Seance 6 to knock out Levin. Who's Levinsky? What do you mean, knock him? I never heard of him. Oh, Groucho Marx's grandmother getting a hysterectomy. Teddy, come here. Show the audience what you look like. Honey, come here. Hey, don't go down there. Don't go under that. No, we need a light on Teddy. Oh, so the limo driver, you want to hear this story? You won't believe this story. It's amazing. See, I learn everywhere. Here's the thing with me. I don't need to rehearse. I get in the limo. I mean, I knew that they had limos in front of the restaurant there, and I knew some of the guys were Kurdish. And so I said, okay, get me him. I didn't want to go to a standard taxi. These are great guys. So the guy drives me home. It's a long ride. I didn't stay in my place in the city. Jack Hatfield needed to go home to his quiet. Oh, you want to show them the waterfront, engineer? Open the screen first. And here, you could do the video while I'm talking. I can't have a toy car right now. Teddy, stop it. Okay, so get in the car, long ride in the dark. And I said, are you from Kurdistan like your friend? Yes. And I said, what religion are you? Because that's the first thing you ask about a Middle Eastern. I didn't know, what would happen. He said, well, the Kurds they're Christians and Muslims and Jewish Kurds. I said, okay, so which are you? He said, I'm a Muslim. He said, but I hate the Wahhabi sect. He said, they're the worst people that ever hit the planet. See, what I'm trying to tell you here is that most Muslims hate Al-Qaeda, they hate the Taliban, and they've suffered more at their hands than any other religion. They hate them. You don't understand what I'm saying to you, do you? You think all Muslims are terrorists? You're wrong. They hate them. Look at the view I have outside my studio. That's nice. That is nice. Don't make it too specific, engineer, because then they'll be able to target in on me with a Muslim patrol boat. The colors were better the other way, whichever direction you were in the other way. The blue was unbelievable. Rondi, can you turn it back to the other view because the colors are bluer? Now it's gray. It looks like the Atlantic Ocean. That is not a straw man on my deck. That is an umbrella. It looks like a straw man, doesn't it? Looks like a girl in a dress doing an Irish jig. That's amazing. It's an umbrella. It looks like a girl doing an Irish jig on my deck. That's psycho. That's whacked out. The color just died. It was gorgeous before. So listen to this. So we're driving. He says he's in America. He got here on a lottery. I said, you're kidding me. You're a lucky man. I thank God, we got one good one on the lottery anyway. He said, I love America. He said, I don't use food stamps. He said, I know many people come here. They make good money, and they use food stamps anyway. I said, tell that to Obama. He's giving them out like, it's like buying votes with food stamps. What do you think he's doing? What do you think? It's it's new to Chicago? You know, you used to get people to the polls and voters years ago. People to vote in Chicago. They give out little $5 bottles of cherry whiskey, cherry brandy. Anything's changed? Now they give out a food stamp so they can buy crack with it or whatever. So here we are. So we're driving. He says, I have 2 children. I said, what is your last name? I can't give it out. I won't give the exact name. He says, well, my last name is, and he gives me a totally Jewish name. He's a Muslim now. He said, okay, my name is Shapiro. I said, what? You're from Kurdistan? You're Middle Eastern in looks, and your name is Shapiro? I said, what'd you do that to get on the lottery list? He laughed. He said, no, that's my grandfather's name. I said, so your grandfather's probably Jewish. He said, I hope so. See what I'm saying? Look at this, how amazing the world really is, what good people there are out there compared to the haters that we see. And that was the long ride. Get to the house in the dark. I couldn't get in my own house. I didn't have a key to my front door. Would you believe it? And instead of racing back to the city, the guy was only making a one-way trip. He waited with me with a flashlight until someone came to open the door for me. Waited 20 minutes. I said, please leave me in the dark. Don't stay here, So I love people. I love people, and I love Life 101 in the sense that you meet wonderful people if you're really open to it. You understand that? It's beautiful out there. I think I'm going to move to a conclusion. I got 28,356 total views tonight. Only 5,500 viewers, which is low, I guess. Mike, what did you have for dinner? Nothing. One of my bucket list items is definitely having dinner with this great mind Savage. You haven't heard a great mind tonight. You heard a rambling man. Have steak for dinner? No, I'm not going to eat. I'm not eating fish these days. Is he reading from this screen or the chat screen? Incredible view. Wow. Laughing out loud at the Muslim patrol boat. Hey, you don't need a Muslim patrol boat with Obama in the White House. It's good enough that a Coast Guard boat could come here and, you know what I'm saying? They don't have to be a Muslim patrol boat from Pakistan. It could be from Annapolis today. We're black. It's all whited out. There's no view at all, engineer. It's a whiteout, a white job. Yeah, well, do it like that way. You're going to get blue water that way. Let him have a nice view. Show him the straw girl. There it is. Then we'll do some. I feel like having a drink. Oh, that's a nice picture of the deck. See, it's a humble house. It's like a little bungalow, little wooden bungalow, a nothing house. That's the way I like it. I don't need 53 special forces, bodyguards. They can break in. Who cares? Forget about it. That's for guys who have to put on airs. It's like for Lindsay Lohan on the radio. So here we are. Here, let me tell you about God. So I'm reading to you now from the New Yorker, August 3rd, 2009, to show you that things don't really change. And the writer says, near the end of Psychological Nudity, Savage writes, I'm watching the sands of time fall into the hourglass. There's more sand on the bottom now than there is on the top. Engineer, it's very dark. I need you to give me a view that's on use. Terrible view. Give me the camera because we're not getting any. I don't like... Mr. Engineer, it's turned black now. It's horrible. It's like a tomb. It's like a crypt. It's making me think of the end of life already. Well, the sun, I can't blame the sun. The sun has to go to sleep too. Everyone goes to sleep. What should I put it on? Me? I can't do that. I'm only allowed to show you my microphone. There's the non-gold microphone. No awards in the house. I have no awards. I don't go to any conferences. In fact, anyone who would invite me, oh, my nose is showing. That's the Groucho thing. See the glove? See the red glove? That's the only thing you're going to see is the red glove as I go on with the show. Actually, I think I'm going to get a bandaged face like the Humphrey Bogart character in the 1947 movie when he goes up those steps, and I may have my face bandaged and just come on the air like that. I'm giving you a hint of some things I'm thinking of. So I'm going to read this to you now. So near the end of Psychological Nudity, Savage says, I'm watching the sands of time fall into the hourglass. There's more sand on the bottom now than there is on the top, right? And he makes reference to his own death with startling frequency, a few times an hour, week after week, talking about his own death. A few times an hour, week after week. Just about anything can set him off. A beautiful pair of Shetland sheepdogs in the mall reminds him of the dog's kindly owner, which in turn reminds him of unkind dog owners, which makes him think about Michael Vick's dog fighting operation, which brings him to mind dead dogs, which leads him inexorably to be considered to a consideration of the old boxeroo waiting at the end of the road for all of us. Did I say that? That's funny. His thoughts on dying are often informed by Buddhist theories of enlightenment and reincarnation. And during one digression, Savage staged his own afterlife as an improvised two-character dramatic scene. I got to read this to you. It's short. It's unbelievable. This is so funny. That's a nice one. Maybe show him the Indian painting with the light on or something. Does it reach over there without me getting strangled? So here's an improvised. But put it on something bright. You can even throw a light on. It cost me a few cents. What the heck? Let's go for a light. Throw on a bulb. What the heck? Here we go. His own afterlife as an improvised two-character dramatic scene. God, there is no time. The whole thing is all a racket. There's no time. Clocks have no meaning. Dolly was closer to the truth. They're all bent because the hands move, but nothing else moves. So here's what it is, Mike. You're going to be reborn again in Mount Sinai Hospital in the year you were born to the exact same parents, and you're going to go through the very same life again. Michael Savage, deceased. No, I don't want that. God, why? It was so bad? You want me to make you a bug? Savage, no. But do I have to do that everything again? The meatball on the wall, the whole thing, the fights in grade school, all over again? Loved by the sewer plant, the nympho at Alley Pond Park, affirmative action, the radio career? God, why, that wasn't good enough for you? Would you like something else? No, God, I'll take it. I'll take it. Oh, that's a nice one. The little plaques on the wall are good. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. It's been 45 minutes. I could go another. I'm finding out that I really like this. I could do this without ads. I can use Teddy's barking as music. Let him bark. It's okay. He's allowed to. He's a little dog. He's allowed to bark. He's got a complex. He's little. He has to bark to survive. I hope you've enjoyed my maiden outing on the first Ustream broadcast. Notice there was not one F word. I'm not like the dirtbags that Obama has to have in the White House, the filthy, dirty talkers with the education of a snail. A snail has more dignity than Chris Rock, in my estimation. That goes to the White House, you hear, and boasts about what they do there. I just don't believe how anyone could vote for this guy. Astounding to me. I don't care whether you're a Democrat. How could you vote for this guy? It doesn't make sense to me. How could you vote for this guy? How? How could you do this? How can you do this? We now have a prophecy emerging right in front of our eyes. It's a prophecy right out of the Bible in the form of Obama. The Bible warned us that an Obama would arrive. And yet you have evangelicals who are afraid of Romney because he's a Mormon. Go figure that one out. I'll never understand that rift. To me, that's like Protestant versus Catholic. The Lubavitch Hasidim versus the Satmar Hasidim will beat each other up. See, if you look from the outside, there's like two black-coated Jewish tribes in the Hasidic world, the ultra-religious, right? What you have is the guys with the long curly sideburns, you call them curly, they're the Satmar. They don't even think Israel should exist. Then you have the Lubavitch, the other black-coated guys, they love Israel. And when they get each other, they beat each other up. To me, it makes as much sense as what I don't understand this. The Irish killed each other. You had a Protestant Irish, a Catholic Irish. How much further did you have to go than your own country, where cousin killed cousin, brother killed brother during the Civil War? I'm sure in your own family right now you have arguments over whether to vote for the divider, the Fugazi in the White House, right? The whole thing is amazing to me. It's the Bible. This is a prophecy happening. And so there it is. Either you're going to honor the wishes of your ancestors and not vote for this zero in the White House, or you're going to take a chance again on destroying America. And that's all I'm going to say right now. You see, most of you don't understand this. I am your voice of freedom. I am your last hope. I am the beacon. I am the Statue of Liberty. I'm Michael Savage, and I may broadcast again tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Pacific, or noon and noon Eastern time, and then I'll be off the air for a few days because I am traveling. God bless you. God bless America, and thanks for listening.